The warning signs were there all along, but now the whispers have turned into something much louder. What if the glamorous California dream that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle sold to the world is starting to crack right in front of everyone's eyes? What if the carefully crafted image of endless success, celebrity connections, luxury deals, and financial freedom is hiding a growing panic that nobody wants to admit? Because according to explosive claims now circulating around royal commentators, the question is no longer whether Harry and Meghan are facing serious pressure. The question is whether they can stop the collapse before it becomes impossible to hide. Tom Bower's latest claims have sent shockwaves through royal watchers because they strike at the very heart of the Sussex brand. For years, Harry and Meghan projected confidence. Every move seemed designed to tell the world they no longer needed the monarchy. They had Netflix, they had Spotify, they had Hollywood, they had influence, they had freedom. But suddenly, a very different picture is emerging. A picture filled with financial concerns, struggling business ventures, disappointing product launches, and growing questions about where the money is actually coming from.
Meghan and Harry's crisis, completely of their own making, is they have no major projects, no major money earners. And so they're more desperate than ever. And I think that they don't know what to do other than to try and come back to Britain and rebuild themselves as some sort of members of the royal family.
The claims are startling. Businesses struggling, revenue failing to meet expectations, projects underperforming, and perhaps most shocking of all, reports suggesting Meghan is now pushing Harry to become a bigger financial contributor because the money simply is not flowing the way they once imagined. Think about that for a moment. This is Prince Harry, a man who spent most of his life surrounded by royal privilege, security, and support. Suddenly, commentators are discussing whether he needs to find new ways to bring income into the household. That alone tells you how dramatically the conversation has changed.
So, word on the streets is that Meghan has told Harry, you got to get your butt out there and bring in some more moolah.
Meghan is deeply worried about their finances, that actually she's got a sense and understanding of money that Harry absolutely doesn't, because he's an aristocrat who's never had to worry about cash, never seen a bill in his life.
But here's where things start becoming even more fascinating. Critics have pointed to what they see as a contradiction that refuses to disappear. But years ago, before Harry entered the picture, Meghan openly criticized expensive luxury lifestyle products. She positioned herself as someone who understood value and authenticity, someone who would never charge outrageous prices for ordinary products. At the time, many people applauded her perspective. It felt relatable, it felt grounded, it felt genuine.
There are no $100 candles on my site. That's so obnoxious. I just want things that you can have. And so I want people who really understand that ethos and enjoy sort of the fun and frivolity of it all.
Fast forward to today, and critics cannot stop comparing those old comments to what they see now. Because the woman who once mocked overpriced candles is now associated with luxury products carrying premium price tags. And suddenly those old interviews have returned like ghosts from the past, forcing uncomfortable comparisons that Meghan probably never expected would resurface.
Now, Meghan Markle, she's been accused of being hypocritical, I suppose, or her hypocrisy has been exposed over a very expensive candle. What's happened now?
That is where the story takes an even darker turn. Because high prices alone do not create controversy. Expensive products sell every day. Luxury brands thrive on premium pricing. The real danger appears when customers start questioning whether the quality matches the price. And according to critics, that is exactly what has been happening. The complaints started spreading. Questions began appearing online. Reviews attracted attention. Videos circulated across social media. Suddenly, people were no longer discussing Meghan's products because they admired them. They were discussing them because they wanted to know whether the criticism was actually true. That is a dangerous shift for any brand. Curiosity driven by controversy rarely creates loyal customers. Instead, it creates spectators watching to see what goes wrong next. What makes this situation even more damaging is the growing perception that every problem seems to reinforce a larger narrative. One complaint becomes two become 10 become headlines. And before long, every product launch is viewed through a lens of skepticism. People stop asking whether the product is good. They start asking what problem will appear this time. Meanwhile, Tom Bower argues that these business struggles are symptoms of a much larger issue. According to his assessment, Harry and Meghan are no longer operating from a position of strength. Instead, they appear to be fighting to maintain relevance while searching desperately for sustainable income streams. That is a brutal accusation because it challenges the entire foundation of what they have been trying trying to build since leaving royal life. The criticism becomes even sharper when observers point to the gap between public influence and financial reality. Fame creates attention. Headlines create attention. Social media creates attention. But attention does not automatically create profit. And according to those watching closely, that distinction is becoming painfully obvious. As the pressure builds, every public appearance starts carrying extra weight. Every interview matters more. Every business venture becomes a test. Every product launch becomes a potential lifeline. Success is no longer simply desirable. It becomes necessary. Failure is no longer an inconvenience. It becomes a threat. Then comes another troubling claim. Reports began circulating that some products were not exactly flying off shelves as expected. Instead of creating images of overwhelming demand, stories emerged suggesting inventory remained unsold longer than anticipated. Whether every claim is accurate or not almost becomes secondary. The damage comes from perception. Once people begin believing a brand is struggling, that belief develops its own momentum. The whispers grew louder. Were the products selling? Were consumers losing interest? Was the brand expanding or shrinking? Why did so many launches seem surrounded by criticism instead of excitement? And perhaps most importantly, why did every new controversy seem to arrive before the previous one had disappeared? The answers remain unclear. But what is becoming increasingly obvious is that Harry and Meghan are facing a level of scrutiny unlike anything they have experienced before. Every decision is analyzed. Every business move is questioned. Every setback is magnified. And behind it all sits the growing question that refuses to go away. Is this merely a rough patch for a celebrity couple adjusting to life outside the royal family? Or is it the beginning of something far more serious? Because if Tom Bower's warnings are even partially correct, then the challenges facing Harry and Meghan may be much bigger than a few disappointing product reviews. They may be staring at a financial reality that threatens the very future of the empire they worked so hard to build. The situation becomes even more alarming when you look beyond the products themselves and start examining the lifestyle that Harry and Meghan have created around their brand. Maintaining a massive Montecito mansion is not cheap. Private security is not cheap. Staff salaries are not cheap. Constant travel, public appearances, luxury living, and preserving an image of celebrity success all require enormous amounts of money. The bills never stop arriving. They arrive every month, every week, every day, and according to critics, the income streams that were supposed to support that lifestyle are no longer growing the way they once were. That is why Tom Bower's comments struck such a nerve. He claims the couple is operating in survival mode, not expansion mode. Think about the difference. Expansion means confidence. It means growth. It means building towards something bigger. Survival means protecting what remains. Survival means trying to avoid disaster. Survival means waking up every day wondering whether the next setback will be the one that pushes everything over the edge. As these concerns spread, another uncomfortable conversation began gaining momentum. What exactly is Harry's role in all of this? Meghan has continued launching brands, products, media projects, and business ventures. Whether they succeed or fail, she is actively pursuing commercial opportunities. Harry, however, appears focused on charitable initiatives, causes, and passion projects. Admirable? Perhaps? Profitable? That is the question critics keep asking. The tension between those two approaches has become impossible to ignore. One side appears focused on purpose. The other appears focused on revenue. One side wants impact. The other side wants sustainability. And when financial pressure enters a relationship, even small differences can become major conflicts. According to reports and commentary, Meghan increasingly believes more money needs to come into the household. That has fueled speculation that Harry may eventually need to reinvent himself in a way he never imagined. Then comes the question nobody can answer without laughing. What exactly does a prince do for a job? Imagine Harry walking into a corporate office. Imagine him attending interviews. Imagine executives trying to decide how to manage someone whose entire identity was built inside the royal institution he left behind. The irony is impossible to miss. Harry spent years trying to escape royal constraints, yet critics argue that royal life may have been the environment where he functioned most successfully. His post-royal career has been filled with challenges. Media projects generated headlines but often struggle to maintain long-term momentum. Business partnerships raised questions. Public appearances attracted attention but not always positive attention. And gradually, a troubling narrative began forming. Outside the royal family, Harry seemed to be searching for a clear professional national identity that never fully emerged. Meanwhile, Meghan appears determined to maintain the lifestyle she fought so hard to achieve. For Hollywood circles, image matters, status matters, the house matters, the neighborhood matters, everything sends a message, everything contributes to perception. Critics argue that Meghan understands this reality perfectly, which is why downsizing may be the last thing she wants to consider. To her, the mansion is more than a home. It is a symbol. It is proof that she belongs among Hollywood's elite. But symbols can become expensive burdens when revenue slows down. And that brings us to perhaps the most explosive possibility of all. What happens if the financial pressure becomes too great? What happens if the business ventures continue struggling? What happens if the brand fails to regain momentum? According to some commentators, there may be only one remaining option, turning back toward the very family they left behind. The possibility sounds almost unbelievable. Yet critics continue discussing it. Could Harry eventually seek support from his father? Could the prince who once publicly criticized royal life find himself needing help from the institution he abandoned? The irony would be staggering. The symbolism would be devastating, and the headlines would be impossible to escape. For now, nothing is certain. The bankruptcy claims remain claims. The speculation remains speculation. But what makes this story so captivating is the pattern. One controversy leads to another. One criticism feeds the next. One struggling venture raises questions about every other venture. And slowly, the image of unstoppable success begins to look less convincing. Perhaps Harry and Meghan will prove everyone wrong. Perhaps the brand will recover. Perhaps new opportunities will emerge. Perhaps the criticism will fade away. But right now, the pressure appears greater than ever, the scrutiny appears harsher than ever, and the questions appear louder than ever. Because if Meghan's business empire continues losing momentum while Harry remains disconnected from major income opportunities, the road ahead could become extremely difficult. And if royal bridges remain burned at the same time, the safety net that once existed may no longer be there. For a couple who once promised a future of unlimited freedom, unlimited opportunity, and unlimited success, that possibility may be the most shocking twist of all. And judging by the growing chorus of critics, many believe this story is far from over. In fact, they believe the most dramatic chapter may still be waiting just around the corner.